Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's the Mac. I'm back. It's been summer holidays, and so I've been busy doing all kinds of shit. But I just checked my channel out. It's been like 2 weeks since I uploaded something, but I'm back. Started working again, and I received, and there's some news, yeah, from Wargame Design Studio. I received some news of this brand new title from the Sword and Siege series called Age of Longbow Volume 1. So I want to thank Wargame Design Studio for giving me a review copy. We're going to dive into the sucker. This looks like a really, really cool game. So hope you guys are going to be enjoying it. We're going to do like I always do. We're going to do a first part of just, diving into the what comes with the game and all the kinds of information and stuff. And then there's going to be a series of Let's Play by picking a scenario here and duking it out and learning the strategies and learning this new kind of warfare. So the game title is centered around the 100 Years' War. Okay, so, dig up your history books, start watching your documentaries, or, remember what you learned in history lesson. There's a lots of information here. And as I usually, I'm pretty rusty, but it seems like a very interesting time era. I'm very different kind of warfare and weapons and stuff that is very different from many of the other games that Wargame Design Studio has released, and the late John Tiller there. So, right, so this is what the game looked like when I fired up. I just showed you the entry screen, and this is how it, the interface and stuff. But we're gonna go and check out the web page a bit for new viewers and stuff. So this is it. Age of Longbow was released yesterday. Actually, I didn't have time to record, but I'm recording today because I've had some time to look at it and stuff. Yeah, so this is part of the Sword and Siege series, and yeah, maybe it's better to just have a look inside the. So these are all the series of the Wargame Design Studio. I've covered many games from all these different ones, but this is the brand new, the newest one. They got the Crusades. This was released as well, quite recently, and they made a demo for this particular series. And now they have the Age of the Longbow released here. So, very interesting title, I must say. I've been fooling around with it, but I did play the getting started and stuff just to get into it. And it's hard, man. It's a tough game. It's tough. You got to think about the tactics in this one, man. It's hard. Because if you're not like really an expert in this kind of warfare, but here is the story basically. What it's all about. It's the lengthy conflict between England and France and their various allies, known as the 100 Years' War, and it broke out after the death of Charles IV of France. Without male heir. So Charles' closest male relative was his nephew, the English King Edward III, who also controlled extensive lands in Gascony and the south of France. And Gascony was another major source of friction between the French and the English crown since the time of Edward's grandfather, Edward I. Right. So right off the bat, right, lots of old history here, man, to dive into. I'm nowhere near an expert, but thank God, all this stuff comes with the game, so you do your own research. I'm going to show you even more. There's even more. Some pretty badass stuff that comes with this game. So there's a lot. Yeah. So the feature is there's actually 94 scenarios in this game. It includes all kinds of different situations and sizes and stuff. There's solo tutorials. And head-to-head, and there's also versus the AI. There's an additional 49 scenarios that are available in the campaign aspect. So there's actually campaigns as well. So they've done a lot of work with this title. They've reviewed the graphics, the sounds. It's even different. I think it's different than the Crusades games. Actually, it looks really slick, man, and different. It just got a really good feel to it, and the music in the game is so badass, man. It really gets you into it. So here are some famous battles. Apparently, I don't know much about them, but there's, Agincourt is a very famous battle that most people know, and probably more. It's just that I'm not that much of a scholar into this, but I mean, as you call it, is a very famous battle. Yeah, so there's technical details and stuff. So really, really cool, man. Age of the Longbow, new game, and so what? Let's have a look at the change log that comes with the game. So Age of Longbow is now is 402, right? So they've done a bunch of enhancements there. They had built shade fire range. They had push skirmisher routines. They have the medium range for infantry outer defensive fire. Okay, artillery ammo. There's lots. Bugs. And, new images and stuff. So lots of updates. Now, what is really like the meat is the almighty notes. And the almighty notes are back, man, with a vengeance. I always praise and give a big clap and shout out for the notes that comes with the designer notes that comes with the Wargame Design Studio games, because they're always fucking badass, man. There's so much stuff in there, so much research, so much information, man. It's basically small books that comes with the game with all kinds of good stuff in it. I mean, you don't really. It's all here, all the information you need, and you don't have to pick up another book about it. But they do always, like if I go back to the news, for instance, they're really good at actually. So if I go down, see, look, here's some previews that's available on the website. But they're really good at showing, like giving you like tips. So here's some YouTube channels. This is really good YouTube channels, Kings Generals, really good documentaries and stuff, and the books, man. Really, I mean, I like this, that they actually, start giving you tips what to read and if you really want to deep dive into some of these, the warfare and what was going on, So really good stuff. This books, reviews and stuff. Right, so the notes. Let's get back to the almighty notes, man. So it's written by Richard White, and look at this, man. The table of contents, man, it's insane. So there's a huge historical background to the 100 Years' War. Basically tells you every single period, every single phase. Because, obviously they weren't just, hacking each other to pieces for 100 years successively, There were truces, and they broke, and there were breaks, and there were some big battles, and, armies pulled back, reformed, diplomacy, conquering of territories. There's a lull in the fighting, and then something resumes again, and many phases of this 100 Years' War. But I'd read somewhere that it actually lasted for 116 years. It's actually the right term, but it's referred as the 100 Years' Wars in history books and old scholars and stuff. So. Then they have something really cool called Armies and Battles of the 100 Years' Wars. And they have English armies, French, Bretons, Flemish, Genoese, mercenaries, Scottish armies, Welsh, different kind of troop types, strategy and tactics and stuff. Further design notes and operations. So, so, it kicks off historical background just right off the bat. 1337 to 1453. There was something going on. Was like the conflict in England and France. We know, and we read that before, and they claimed the territories and stuff. But then there's the Edwardian phase. It was 37 to 60 apparently. Different shit went down there, and then they have the War of the Breton Succession. That's 41 to 64. So obviously, picking something, you probably need to read up a bit, to know what the hell you're doing, why certain armies are at the field and stuff. But I mean, we're really, really well written here. I mean, I got to give it, And here's something: Gascony prior to during the Edwardian phase of the 100 Years' War. Okay, so you have the Crecy campaign. Okay, during the winter 45, spring 46, Edward III made plans to multi-front campaign against the French in conjunction with his Flemish allies. So he invaded Normandy again. All right. You have the Black Prince. Maybe that was what he was called. He looks pretty bad. This is a nice picture, man. And it says the decade between Crecy and Poitiers. So there was 10 years that went by, apparently. The Black Death, yeah, so the Black Death that pulled through and the plague, which reached Western Europe, would wipe out from between a third to perhaps more than half of the population, having a devastating effect on society with further outbreaks frequency occurring until the 17th century. So you have that going. The Poitiers campaign and its aftermath, all right. The unrest and the proxy conflicts of the 1360s. The Caroline phase, okay. The second phase of the 100 Years' Wars in terms of Caroline phase after the French King Charles V. At this period, the English King Edward III was growing old and decrepit, and his eldest son, the Black Prince, was struck down by a prolonged illness that prevented him from campaigning and will lead to his early death. Okay, so there's some story there, okay. I'm not going to read it all. I mean, you guys can read it yourself. I think the designer notes can actually be downloaded. The Lancastrian phase and Henry V invasion of Normandy, the Treaty of Troyes. Okay. Yeah. All right. Lots of stuff going on, man. Look at this. Nice pictures, man. Cool. It's pretty badass warfare, man. Look at this knight here with his fucking mace, you know. All right. From the Treaty of Troyes, the Siege of Orleans. Lots of stuff going on there. The siege of, I mean, the span is huge. 100 years, man. It's amazing that they, got this packed into a game like this. So it's amazing. And Jeanne d'Arc, yeah, the famous Jeanne d'Arc, and the revival of the French hopes. Yeah, this famous warrior heroine. You guys probably seen the movie, read about her in the books and stuff. Pretty cool thing that the arrival of Jeanne d'Arc at Orleans with 200 gendarmes on the evening of the 29th would restore French morale, even though La Haye's sortie against the Boulevard de Saint-Pierre on the 30th of April was unsuccessful. Okay, so lots of stuff, man. So, I'm going to do some research. When I pick a battle, I'm going to read up on it and stuff, so I can actually, explain some stuff, what's going on, because this is probably what you need to do with this game, because, remembering all this history, you need to be like a historian scholar or someone that's really, really into it, read like lots of books about it and know it by heart. Because otherwise, this is pure interest. But, pick a battle and then, do your research about it, and then basically what's going on. So, Normandy campaign, okay, the Gascony campaign, and that's it, man. Wow, lots. And then they have this cool feature called Armies and Battles of the 100 Years' War. So they talk about the English army. The English were famous for their longbows. French were famous for their heavy cavalry. They had some really good gendarmes, I guess. Bretons, not sure. Breton armies were similar to French ones, but with less heavy cavalry and more light infantry, which would have a tendency to prefer ambushes and hit-and-run tactics like the Welsh. For this reason, Breton and the Welsh light infantry are able to move after firing. That's pretty cool. That's another feature. They have that in the Crusades ones. Those Arabic like bow horsemen can actually move up to an enemy, fire, and for remaining moves sort of retreat. And then now they have that implemented for this light infantry as well, which is pretty cool. Which few infantry units or other nations are permitted to do. English and French troops would often fight alongside Breton forces in the Breton Civil War, while on the other occasions Breton forces might form part of the French army or else fight independently as separate allied contingents. Okay, Flemish and Burgundian armies. Okay, Flemish armies were mainly civic militia and a few cavalry, especially since the nobility tended to be pro-French. Okay. Genoese and other mercenaries, man. Look at this. All armies made use of professional mercenaries in the period. The French often had strong contingents of Genoese crossbowmen to support the cavalry. This French infantry were generally ill-trained and poor-quality militia. Heavy Italian cavalry from Milan and Lombardy sometimes provided support for the French, as the Verneuil and Cravant, and also lighter Agonese cavalry with foot soldiers. Cool. Scottish armies. Yeah, so they must have been known for also. Scottish armies tend to rely heavily on spearmen deployed in schiltrons as a defense against the more numerous English cavalry, and often also offensively against English infantry. However, defensive tactics were futile against the skillful English commanders' use of combined arms tactics, These English archers could easily wear down the dense schiltrons until they either broke or the English decided to launch a cavalry charge or attack the now disordered schiltrons with the fresh infantry. Apart from fighting the English at home, frequently as part of the Franco-Scottish militia alliance, substantial Scottish contingents were often present in the support of French armies. All right. Welsh forces were usually quite small and generally relied upon ambushes against large English. Okay. And then they take on, the different kind of cavalries. They go into troop types. So, like in musket and pike, there were very different types of cavalry. Heavily armored and tend to shock combat, while others were lighter and more useful for scouting, raiding, and skirmishes and stuff. Gendarmes were those heavy cavalries. Lancers, they were actually lighter, but they're more mobile, but they were meant for shock as well, to smash into. While gendarmes were heavily cavalry, lancers were light to medium cavalry and also less effective in melee. Breton cavalry often tended to be more lancers than heavy. Okay, so maybe therefore more, mopping up, like retreating units and stuff. Archers, lighter, less well-armored cavalry armed with lance and crossbow, intended to charge in support of the gendarmes. These troops can also shoot from a distance, inferior to gendarmes in the melee, and rather too slow and heavy to skirmish effectively. These doubled armed troops are perhaps second best in both departments, although still effective against most troops other than other gendarmes or infantry in block formation. All right. Hobblars, prickers, and border horse, light cavalry armed with spears and lance, and often also bow and crossbow, used primarily to scout and skirmishes. All right. Costiliers and Ginettes, these were the guys with the javelins, I would imagine. Yeah, English and other mounted archers. Okay, infantry. The halberdiers, the pole arms, English bills, heavy pole armor delivered from agricultural implements. Okay, so you have the heavy infantry. You have spears and pikes. Spearmen and pikemen can be highly effective melee infantry, especially against lighter infantry armed with missile weapons. Okay, swordsmen, Scottish Highlanders, or some other light infantry such as Castilian escuderos are armed with just a sword rather than spear, axe, or polearm. Right, longbows. Yeah, we know about that. They were pretty dangerous. Bows and short bows, crossbows, about as slow to load as a handgun. The crossbow was arguably more accurate and may have had a longer effective range. However, it was less effective against armored targets. Nevertheless, the main reason for the subsequent abandonment of the crossbow in the 16th century may have been less a matter of relative battlefield effectiveness, as a fact that the late medieval crossbows was technically a far more complex weapon, requiring a number of carefully handcrafted parts. Right. Heavy crossbow, a heavier version of the crossbow, mostly found in Burgundian armies. Handguns, so they had handguns. Early handheld firearms appeared in Western Europe in the late 14th century, probably some decades after the first artillery. They became increasingly commonplace during the 15th. Javelins, non-combatants. Yeah, artillery is also huge, man. They have cannons, culverins, culverin and culverines. These are heavy siege guns. Demi-culverins. So they are slightly lighter, I guess. Sakers, 6 to 8 pound guns. There's a standard of caliber of the period. Falcons, lighter, shorter range. Okay. Falconet, these were even lighter, I guess. The 1 to 2 pound falcon is the lightest type of the gun, so it had least effective. This gun type is sufficiently light and mobile that can turn and fire, or unlimber and fire in the same turn. Okay, this is pretty cool. The ribald Quinn, with 5 or more small barrel mounted on a single gun carriage. The ribald was a short-ranged infantry support gun intended to help break up a cavalry charge or disrupt the attack of an enemy infantry assault. It's the late medieval equivalent of a mitrailleuse or machine gun. One of the earliest known use on the battlefield was in the English army of Crécy in 1346, and this type of light multi-barreled gun, also known as an organ gun, continued to use in the 16th century. Ah, man, that would be devastating going for that. And there they have some, strategy and tactics tips. So, heavy cavalry can be devastating and effective in melee. All this stuff. We're going to read up on that. Light cavalry, it tells you what basically how to use your units and stuff, which is really great. Further designer notes. Okay, they got map designs, bibliography. There's a map included in the manual maps folder which provides an overview of Europe during the time period. It's focused on November 11th, 1444. So, yeah, so this is the map. So there we go. Then we have all the operations, so boot camps and stuff. They have actually a few boot camps, which are really good to learn you all kinds of different tactics. So, for instance, the getting started is usually a scripted scenario, you know, that you read and follow step by step. And then they have this infantry against cavalry, you know, to know how to deal with cavalry and stuff. And then they have defensive actions, archers and stakes. This could be good to learn how to use that. And then it starts with the battles. Yeah. So this would, are they in chronological order? November, Cressida Dawn. I think they might be. Yeah, it looks like it. So, wow, this would be the earliest battle they would have then, I guess. November 1337, Kasdan, Zeeland, southwest Holland. The battle is unclear. The version was that the English deployed ready to post a Flemish landing, eager to demonstrate the English power after initial setbacks from the invasion of France itself that year. Edward sent a naval force against the wealthy Flemish port of Sluis. Louis I, Count of Flanders, was pro-French, having been restored to power by the French of the 1328. Okay. All right, so this looks cool. I mean, wow, there's so much to explore in this game. It's insane. I think that is, I mean, they go over all the scenarios here, which is badass, man. So this is what you need to refer to when you want to deep dive into the scenario. Yeah, so this is the getting started. I actually played through this. It was really fun. I actually managed to win it, but it was hard, man. It was tough. You really need to plan your moves and stuff. Lots of tactics, and you need to really think about how to use your units, because they're very specified. Some units, they're good for certain things, but they suck at others. So you really gotta plan your stuff. So here they go. Just go through the whole thing. Let me know if you want me to do the getting started, or if you want me just to pick something. But it's quite extensive. And, yeah, they also have the. Let's see, where is it? Yeah, so they have the boot camps as well in here in this documentation. So that's good to know. Yeah, the user manual is 128 pages now. It's quite extensive. So this is basically the user manual for both the titles, I would say, in the Sword and Siege now. So I mean, that would be the same manual for all games, but really good as always. Excellently written, very, very nice. All the rules are here. Tells you. So always do a search. If you find something, you're struggling to find something, the odds are very high that you will actually find it in this manual. Just do a search. You will find it. So very, very good manual written there. So let's go back to the game, man. All right, so this is what it looks like. Before, actually, I haven't actually checked out what kind of campaigns that comes with the game. See that. There's two campaigns. There's the Crécy campaign of 1346, and there's a Loire campaign of 1429. I wonder if these are actually scripted. I'm just going to fire one up and see what happens here. All right, look at all the battles here, man. So let's just yeah, I'll be side A. I'm not sure which one is side A, but let's do it. Right. So this is what does it say here? All right, Edward the 13th. Oh yeah, this was the invasion of Normandy then that we read about earlier. So quite the French unprepared, with the main French army effectively besieging Aguillon in the south. Also, a French offensive against Brittany had recently suffered a humiliating setback at the St. Paul on the 9th of June. This allowed the pillaging English army to capture Barfleur, Carentan, Saint-Lô, and other Norman towns before advancing towards the city of Caen. An outnumbered French force under Raoul supported by Marshal Robert Bertrand, must decide whether to fight or preliminary delaying action, or else concentrate all available resources in an attempt to hold Caen until a French relief army could be assumed and march to their assistance. Okay, interesting. This is like long after, Yes, just replace it there. Right. So there. Wow, look at those scenarios here. After Henry's decisive victory at the Agincourt in the following years, the English, with the assistance of their Burgundian allies, had been able to conquer and control much of northern France, including Paris. Okay, so there's a story there. So there's 2 campaigns, man. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Right. So let's just we can actually just open the getting started one. Why not? I think you're supposed to play a the default is, I don't know. I don't think there are any more like new rules. I think most of these are your standard optional rules for Wargame Design Studio games. You know, especially these for this era and sort of Renaissance and stuff. So I don't think there's anything new. Which I'm just gonna fire it up and you guys can see graphics right off the bat. Hope you can hear it, but this music. All right, so this is the Mac zoom out. So they have new icons and stuff. These are all new, you know, looking pretty cool. You can, they have the NATO ones. They're also altered a bit, these NATO counters. They're kind of new as well. And they have alternate ones. These are, I think these are in some other games as well. But I like it. But I really like these ones though. The graphical ones are really, really nice. So the story is that this French force is going to attack this English force that is stationed, I think they're English. I think they are, yeah. This English force is here, and this big French force is going to have to overtake this. Yeah, so 3D actually looks really sweet now, I gotta say. So there's new graphics. Look at this. So these are, as you can see, they have those dangerous machine gun or organ guns, and they have 70 plus archers in here, but they also have stakes, these stakes, which archers can deploy, you know. They can deploy these stakes for defensive against cavalry and stuff. Cavalry wouldn't want to charge and impale themselves, but they have, that's pretty cool, you know. So they have lots of archers here. So over 100 archers here. These are probably longbow men, you know. You gotta be, these guys are dangerous. And there are some mostly bows. They do have something here. They look like, they could be crossbow men actually. Hard to tell, we don't know. And so look at the French forces then. So the French have gendarmes on the flank. It's actually this guy here, Saint-Tralier. He is, well, it says brigade, but it wasn't actually called, but he's the group commander of this big cavalry force. And it's split in 2. Now a difference, let's have a look at the optional rules again. So, let's see. So you can actually fight and stuff even though you're detached. This is kind of not always the case in many Wargame Design Studio games, but it might be an optional rule. Can't find it. Yeah, if you have no detached melees clicked, that means that units that are detached cannot engage without the commander present. But the default for this game is that you can, because the command radius is so poor, you know. There's not that many commanders around, so I think this is his command range right here. So I think, I mean, obviously these guys, somebody would be in charge of these guys, you know, over here. Somebody they would look up to, probably one of the gendarmes, and they would fight, you know, independently. Even though this guy here is the main commander, if he would dispatch a rider to them and tell them something else, they would, you know, probably do that. But you know, that's how they think. I think in this game, that all the units are sort of, you would be fighting. You know, you wouldn't just stand and be slaughtered. I mean, if an enemy approached, because I'm detached, I can't fight you. You know, yeah, you would fight. So, yeah, and look at all this artillery. So I think they did that on purpose, just to get you to try out all kinds of different artillery. So they have this organ gun. They have what is this? Volgaliers? Falconet. It says, right. So we have these lighter guns. Range 7. These only have like range 3, yeah. So we have Falcons. These are slightly heavier, I think. They have better range. 9. That has 7. So these are, you know, dangerous. And then they have these culverines. And they had, actually they're Sakers, so they're not the super heavy guns. But they are fielded. Saker, range 14, alright. And this would be Falcons as well, okay. Falcons, alright, so can't remember the name of them all now. These are Falconets, yeah. But these are probably deployed, you know, you probably cannot move them. I don't see, I'm just going to try if I can. Oh, you can actually limber them. Alright, and setting up, yeah. That's the difference of some of these guns. Like this, for instance. It's already set up, you know. And you can, I think it can fire right away, but now nothing is in range. This might actually take some setting up. No, alright, so it's already unlimbered there, right. Yeah. These lighter guns. Yeah, there's some infantry. So they have, here you got 100 men, archers, Scottish herrings. Quality B, man. They have longbows. They can fire indirectly, so they can fire, you know, like that and hit something, you know, out of sight. Has stakes, right? So I'm just going to see, you know, how do you do that? Probably have to look that up, but user archer stakes. We'll see what happens. Stakes, all right. I don't think they're deployed. I think they're, you know, deploying stakes now. And after maybe after a while, this icon will come up. So they're planting stakes. Now I'm just trying things out here. You have these cannon main. All right, so these are the guys with the handguns. Range 2, man. They're decent armor 1 and stuff. So 4 ranks, 100 men. So you have those. Obviously, you need to get them close. Here we have those men at arms. These are your main heavy attackers. Armor 5, melee 6 bonus, man. These guys can block as well. I think I read somewhere that they actually do fight best in block formation, I think. We're gonna have to look that up. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. We have some more archers here. So these are all Scottish herrings, right? Archers and some heavy infantry. Supply trucks, supply wagons. And we have some, and here you have some of these melees. These are like poorly trained spearmen, you know. 100 men guarding the supplies. Here we have something, we have more of those, yeah. Those are those cannon guys. And here we have actually crossbow man, alright. Quality B, not bad. And some more longbow man, okay, so, and these, so not much infantry. I mean, the melee is only 2 units here, man, it's not much. And then you have these horses here, so you have the gendarmes, these are your shock, they have lances, heavy armor, they smash into things, cause havoc, very good at melee as well. Then you have these that I read about, these dragoons, so they have lance and crossbows. I mean, they work as well for, I mean, definitely, but then they're not as good as the gendarmes, but they can fire with this with the crossbows, and they can even dismount as well. So, you know, dismounted, open order. Yeah, this is a new thing. Open order. So this is a sort of a spread out formation. Let me just check so I'm not lying to you guys. But for instance, I think that's a new feature. So yeah, let's see here. There we go. Right. So maybe it wasn't really explained. Maybe it's better to just click that. Yeah, so open order formation. Open order formation is used by certain troops in certain terrain and certain theater of operations. Only 2 rank light guard, line infantry, irregulars, and dismounted cavalry are allowed to enter allowed to enter. Dismounted cavalry always use this formation. Units must be in good order and in command to move out in open order. Open order pays line cost to move as well as the same formation change cost. A unit can go from column directly to open order. Frontages will be increased by 2 times when deployed to present wider spacing between the men. Offensive fire against an open order unit is reduced by 20. So obviously it's a good formation to move towards, you know, something that's firing at you. A unit in open order engaged in melee will do so at minus 20. So you're also less effective since your men are all spread out all over the place. You know, your fighting coherence is not the best. So, but it would be used to advance, you know, towards something dangerous. And these guys have crossbows, you know, so they can, you know, do that. But they can get back on their horses in the same turn. All right. Can I dismount these guys? Non-dragoon cavalry units cannot change formation. Okay, so these guys, the gendarmes cannot dismount. You probably have to start the scenario with dismounted dragoons. I mean gendarmes, because in some battles actually the gendarmes were dismounted and used as this, you know, heavy infantry and stuff. We have some more of these same dragoons here, and these units are the lightest skirmish forces. You know, these guys have javelins. You know, you don't want to attack into something other. Maybe you could engage like light cavalry versus, I mean, same kind of quality versus each other, but never anything heavier, because these guys will lose. They don't have any armor, and they only have javelins and light horses and stuff. So these are the units that comes in here. So this is a really fun battle to play. So it was really fun to learn, you know. But this is a very daunting position here. You know, they got abatis as well, which is blocks to your horses, and they have these stakes, and they have some. They can actually, yeah, some units can detach, you know. So they have some skirmishers they have detached there. I'm not sure if any of my units can light forces. Light should probably be able to change skirmish. Yeah, so we can also detach, you know, like 25 skirmishers there. They would probably be in some sort of light. Wouldn't they be in an open order or something? Let's see. Change formation? No, they are automatically in that kind of, you know. Yeah, that's the quick button for it. Always restricted means they cannot deploy anything. That means that they are, you know, set. And so are these crossbowmen here. And they are restricted. I don't know what restricted plus means. What does that mean? Restricted plus. Is that something new? Or if you can just go like that. Here we go. Unit labeled as restricted plus cannot deploy skirmish company, but can form open order. See, this is what the rulebook's all about, man. So these guys can actually go into open order. I mean, that is something, you know, you probably would want to know, you know. Change formation. I was able to see, where was it? Open order? Yeah, look at that. Open order. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So, that's what the game looks like. I could fire up some other, if you want to see like some bigger battles and stuff. Let's have a look at this first battle. This looks interesting. I just want to see what it looks like. Wow, look at this. Holy shit. Alright, we got an island here. Wow, it's like a landing. Wow, this looks tough. Look at these. Some of these are quality A, man. Yeah, so this is probably going to be tough to land and move through this. You're going to have to be in column mode and stuff. This looks tough, man. Let's open something famous like, where's that Crécy? Isn't that was a famous battle? I wonder if they actually are in chronological order. Let's see here. November 38, 39. Looks like they are. 40, 42, 45. Yeah, it looks like it. 52, 64. Wow, so many battles here, man. Wow. Here we go, Crécy. I bet there are different versions of. Yeah, they usually do lots of different versions of famous battles. So they got variant. There's another historical take. This is a what if, and that's a what if. But I guess this would be the main thing. All right. Holy jeez, look at this. Woo! Ah, okay, here we're talking. This is serious business here. Look at the forest and stuff. I think that's a fantastic job on the graphics now, on the 3D. I think it looks really slim and nice. I'm thinking of actually playing this game in 3D now, man, because I really like the feel of it, man. Really nice graphics here. I mean, really, really well done, you know. Even though I love this, but wow, this looks amazing. I think it looks really, really cool. So what was I going to check out? So yeah, you can remove certain, like, what's this, hex, right? Yeah, if you remove the hex, it looks even more smoother. Wow, look at all this. What we got here? We got these Genoese forces, crossbows, heavy armor. Yeah, he's got longbow man there. Wow, so many of these. These guys are not that good in melee. They're crossbow man. Will you? Okay, so they're probably going to send them forward to really, you know, weaken the enemy. 500 men a pop here, man. So what's in the second line? We got even more so many crossbow man. Here's something. These are spearmen. In column formation, all right. Some more crossbow men. Man, the amount of crossbows here is insane. Got 300 heavy knights. Lances, 600, man. Look at these bad boys. Ah, look at these. And these badasses here. Wow. Lots of heavy cavalry here in the center. Interesting. I don't know much about this battle. I need to read up on it. Militia. Lots of crossbowmen, though. And we have some reinforcements probably moving in here. Even more. Spearmen and stuff coming. Alright. Cool. So this is what it looks like, man. Pretty amazing. Just want to check one more before we sort of I wrap this one up. Agincourt, where is it? Here we go. This is historical, variant, and variant. So let's check this out. Wow, look at this. Yeah, so yeah, this was a famous. Wasn't this when all the knights got stuck in the mud and stuff? Fields. And you have these all these dangerous archers. I mean, they were shot to pieces. We got billmen. So many archers, man. It's insane with these men at arms as well. They have stakes. And they're all disordered here, these French forces coming in. Wow, it's a big army, man. Everything is disordered. All right. Wow. Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking of wrapping it up now. I've been mumbling for a long time now. But I think you have a grasp of it. I mean, obviously, we're going to be deep diving into some of the... we're going to pick a scenario. If you know anything you want me to play it, just give a shout out and write in the comments and stuff. This looks like an amazing game. Wow. The amount of hours that can be spent in this game is just crazy. But, you know, a very different way of thinking here and getting into this. So you probably need to practice a lot before, you know, I want to face a human opponent. I think I'm going to get my ass kicked. But it looks great. I really like the work they put into it. And I really like this new series they got going here. I think it's a pretty cool thing that they, you know, they covered so much already, and now they, you know, this era is, you know, in between. Actually, it's before the Renaissance. Yeah, the Renaissance. Yeah, and these are all the more the titles that comes after Renaissance. But this is like your stop before. This would be your earliest games, like the Crusades, of course. Crusades is the dealing with. I think it deals with the. I think they deal with this first and second Crusade, but not so much the first, because the first was a blunder. But it might be the second and the third Crusade, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so I think I've showcased this on the channel already. But wow, I gotta say, impressive, man. Very impressive. This looks amazing. So I'm gonna pick a battle. And then I probably would, you know, deep dive a lot more into units and stuff, because I need to learn, you know, how to use them and stuff. But as you can see, it's all in the manual, man. It's all there. And the manual is so user-friendly. Just search for stuff, you'll get it. And, you know, quick reference to find information. Now, the deep thing would be to research the battles, you know, have a look and read up on, you know, so you know, because it's more fun, for me at least, to play about knowing the historical setting, you know, the units involved, who won, who didn't. I even like to read, you know, what the army commanders actually did, and sometimes, you know, try to recreate it if it was successful. And if it was a blunder, you probably need to think, you know, a different strategy, because you don't want to do, you know, come to the same fate as the enemy did. So I want to thank you for watching, man. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this series. And I want to thank again Wargame Design Studio for giving me a review copy of this game. And there's going to be a battle coming up short. So do write in comments and stuff. If there's anything that you want me to try out and play, I will take it into consideration and probably pick one of those. Or I'll just try to pick something myself. And we'll see what happens. So I want to thank you for watching, man. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Have a good one.